The great ship was a dormant god in the dust. It rested in the valley of an airless moon, its once iridescent hull scoured to a dull gray by micrometeorites in time. To the people of the nearby system, it was the tombship. They knew it was a grave. They knew something powerful slept within. Their most ancient records, etched on crystal plates, warned against it. Do not approach. Do not wake the sorrow that sleeps inside. For 973 standard cycles, they obeyed. The Velen, a people of delicate silicate biology and profound cultural memory, sent only silent observers. They watched from orbit as dust settled on the hull in layers thick as their history. They sensed the psychic resonance, a low, perpetual hum of anguish that seeped into the local subspace frequencies. It was a song of pain so deep it had become a geological fact. Then the humans came. They were a survey team, Galactic Charter number 8814. Their directives were simple. Assess mineralogical anomalies on the moon, designated Velen 3b. The Velen Council sent a formal, urgent request. They pleaded for the humans to avoid the valley. They transmitted the warnings. The human commander, a pragmatic man named Elias, acknowledged. He then ordered a landing at the valley's edge. His reasoning was sound by human metrics. His sensors detected an alloy unknown to science. His duty was to investigate. The warnings of a non-hostile species, rooted in what he privately deemed superstition, were a secondary concern. Elias led the team himself. They crossed the gray regolith, their boots kicking up dust that fell in slow, silent arcs. The tomb ship loomed. Up close, it was not merely large. It was a landscape. Its lines were organic, flowing yet utterly alien. A great fissure, like a wound, split its side. It was not from impact. It looked deliberate. Inside, the darkness was absolute. Their helmet lights carved tunnels in the void, illuminating corridors that curved in non-Euclidean ways. The air was not vacuum. It was still, cold, and carried a scent of ozone and old metal. There was no debris, no signs of struggle, only a profound and waiting silence. They found her in the heart of the ship, a chamber that might have been a bridge or a throne room. She was fused with the architecture, her form both biological and mechanical. She was immense, her torso emerging from a console of dark, glass-like material. Her physique was powerful, avian and reptilian, with scaled arms that ended in elegant, tool-integrated hands. Her head, crowned with a crest of ossified feathers, was bowed. Her eyes were closed, and from her chest, just above where a heart might be, rose the three swords. They were not of her making. That was immediately clear. They were brutal, utilitarian things of a dull black metal, plunged deep into the confluence of organic tissue and machine components. They formed a grim triangle. They did not rust. They did not waver. They were anchors, pinning her to the seat, to the ship, to this deathless sleep. Elias approached, his breath loud in his own helmet. His second in command, a geologist named Anya, gripped his arm. Her voice crackled over the private channel. "Boss, the Velen warnings. This is it. We should pull back." Elias studied the swords. He studied the being. His sensors showed minimal energy readings, a flicker so faint it was almost a trick of the instruments. But they also showed the swords were emitting a dampening field, a complex waveform that suppressed all energy in a localized sphere. They were not just physical pins. They were metaphysical locks. "She's alive," Elias said, his voice quiet. "In a fashion. Those things are keeping her that way. Not letting her live. Not letting her die. And that's our business why." Anya asked, tension making her voice sharp. Elias did not have a good answer. He had a feeling. It was a human feeling, messy and irrational. It was the feeling one got seeing a wounded animal, trapped. It was outrage at the cruelty of the setup. This was not an accident. This was an execution stretched across millennia. He thought of the Velen warnings, the fear. They feared her. They feared what was done to her. There was a difference. We're going to remove one, he stated. The team protested. Protocol was cited. Potential hazards were listed. The Velen would be furious. Elias listened. He then ordered them to fall back to the chamber's entrance. He would do it alone. If there was a catastrophic reaction, the team might survive to report. Anya refused to leave him. She stood, silent and disapproving, as he approached the fused GIATESS. He picked the sword on the left. It seemed no different from the others. He reached out, his gloved hands closing around the hilt. It was cold, colder than the moon's shadow. The moment he made contact, the chamber changed. The air shimmered. A torrent of images, sounds, and emotions slammed into his mind, bypassing his helmet's filters. He saw a vibrant world of crystalline forests and soaring spires. He saw her people, graceful and fierce. He saw a fleet of blocky, brutal ships descend from a tier in the sky. The Mezek, conquerors. They wielded weapons that crippled the mind as they shattered the body. They did not come for territory. They came for subjugation. They fought her people, the Shale, and found them too resistant, too willful. Their victory was not destruction. It was imprisonment. He saw her, a commander, a scientist, a nexus of her people's consciousness network, captured. The Mezek fashioned the swords. They were called the Hush Blades. One to cage the body, one to mute the mind, one to still the heart. Together, they created a perfect stasis of suffering. She would be a warning, a monument to Mezek cruelty, left for any of her kind who might ever find her. Her agony, broadcast on a psychic frequency, would forever poison this region of space, a scar to frighten others. The vision ended as suddenly as it began. Elias staggered, his hands still welded to the hilt by memory and cold. He now understood the Velen fear. They had been listening to her silent scream for centuries. They called it a song of sorrow. It was the static of a soul in infinite torment. Elias. Anya's voice was strained. The readings. They're spiking. He could see it. Faint golden light, like liquid amber, began to seep from around the blade in his hands. It traced the lines where her scaled flesh met the foreign metal. It was her life, bleeding out after eons of being corked. He braced a boot against the console. He pulled. It was not a physical resistance. It was as if the universe itself objected. The chamber groaned. The black blade seemed to stretch, to cling. The psychic hum became a shiver, then a vibration that made their teeth ache inside their helmets. More images came, fragmented. The Mezek, gloating. The empty void of the centuries. A long, numb nothingness punctuated only by the dull, eternal ache of the 3 points of violation. Elias roared, a sound of pure human effort lost in the vacuum of his helmet. He threw his weight back, muscles burning against a weight that was not mass, but will, with a sound that was not a sound. A release of pressure that shook the dust from the distant ceiling. The sword came free. Elias fell backwards, the blade clattering from his hands. It hit the floor and did not ring. It simply lay there, inert, its malevolent purpose spent. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the giantess moved. It was a shudder, a convulsion that ran through her form and through the ship itself. The amber light at the wound pulsed brighter. One of her hands, fused to the armrest for centuries, twitched. The ossified feathers of her crest trembled. Slowly, with the terrible stiffness of ages, she raised her head. Her eyes opened. They were pools of molten gold, shot through with fractures of brilliant blue. They held the depth of the long darkness. They focused, with immense effort, on the small figure in the bulky suit lying before her. Elias scrambled to his feet. He was staring into the eyes of history, into a pain older than his species. He saw no anger there. Not yet. Only a confusion so vast it was like the void outside. Her voice did not come through the air. It formed directly in their minds, a sound like grinding tectonic plates smoothed into language by immense, weary effort. You are not Mezek. No, Elias said aloud, knowing she would hear the thought within. We are humans. We found you. You have broken a lock. One of 3. Her gaze drifted to the 2 remaining swords. The pain in her mental voice was a tangible thing, a blade of its own. Why? Again, Elias had no protocol. He had only the truth. Because it was wrong. The concept, in its stark, simple humanity, seemed to echo in the mental space between them. Wrong, not strategically unsound, not politically inconvenient. Morally wrong. Wrong, she repeated, tasting the word. A small reason. For a great consequence, the ship around them gave a deeper groan. Consoles that had been dark for a millennium flickered with faint, ghostly light. The psychic scream that had haunted the Veln for centuries shifted in pitch. The pure note of agony fractured. And within it, like the first crack of ice in a spring thaw, was something else. A sliver of sensation. A memory of feeling that was not pain. The Mezak are gone, she sent, her thoughts probing the local stellar neighborhood, reading the data from the humans' own open suit links. Dust, their empire, ash. And I remain. She looked at the human, so small, so fragile, who had done what her powerful kin, what the cautious Veln, what time itself had not dared. He had seen a lock, and deeming it wrong, had broken it. Not to own, not to control, just to break. You have given me a fragment of myself, she thought. The amber light welled stronger from the first wound. It did not look like dying. It looked like healing. The lock on my body is broken. The pain is less absolute. Elias slowly stood. See,